How do you see the win? Today, I want to invite you to challenge yourself. Write down a challenge that you face at the moment, a challenge in business that you've maybe thought of an outcome, a challenge that may need to be refined or a reinvention occur. But write it down because you're going to need it today. As you listen to the experts I have with me today, and they're going to give you different perspectives on protection. Protection is what? An investment. An investment that doesn't have to be loads of money that you spend, but protection is also stopping to be more resourceful. Reinvention, recreation. I'm Marlene Foster with Empower the Vision. And today we're going to talk about protection. How do you protect the business? I have with me today Preeti Balasubramanian and Constance Johnson. You're going to hear different perspectives today. Take your paper and pencil, write that challenge, and let's get started. Okay? So first thing again, protection is what? An investment. And when you look at protection, you may look, you're going to see, first of all, what are you protecting? You're protecting growth, aren't you? Growth. And when you're protecting growth, you're looking at ways to team. Team first with whom? With yourself. And team with those that you feel confident with, those that you feel comfortable and you trust. You trust these individuals. There's trust there. And then you will then land on protection. I spoke about affordability, right? And when you're looking at affordability with protection, start with, first of all, look at your past. Look at the gifts that you've been given in your business. Think about something that may have occurred. I don't know, maybe years ago. It could have been something that, it may have been a grief that occurred, a discomfort of some type, or it may have been a failure, but you can learn from it all. And maybe from that, there was an outcome that really took you to the next level. Go back. Today, I want you to step back today and think about it. And I want to share with you today what happened to me. 2 years ago, I was writing a co-authored book. And as I was writing the book, there was a death that occurred in my family of a loved one. A loved one of 2 years of age. 2 months of age. She was 2 months old and died. I had to think of the challenge I faced right there. Think about if you were in my shoes. I just lost a 2-month-old granddaughter. And now I'm attempting to write a book at the same time. And what occurred was collaboration. I'm writing with co-authors. They collaborated. They supported me. They engaged me and said, Marlene, you can do it. You can still do this. You can still write this book. And when you look at the book itself, it's a reminder, Marlene, that you can still move forward even through the unexpected. She reaches out right now to be protection. It protected, guys, my credibility. It protected the business. It protected those who trusted me to stand with them to move forward through this book. So the book is now published, was published 2 years ago. And because of it, I am now inviting you to join a co-author workshop, co-authors to come, and we're going to teach you how to monetize your story, how to do it collectively, and how to do it individually. As a co-author, I have discovered ways that I can now monetize my business individually with solo stories. We're going to do that in this workshop. And I want you right now, you've written down your challenge. You've written down the solution. And you know how you can actually make a difference? Resourcefulness. You have to be resourceful, guys. You got to turn around and look at how can I now refine something that's already in my corner. We've got gifts right now. You've got gifts that you haven't really focused on for a while. Take time and think about it. Think it over. I was walking through the house and I looked at my book and I knew, and I'll tell you, tears came in my eyes because I thought about, I need to do better than this. And so here I am today inviting you to come with me. Let's come together in a workshop for co-authors and aspiring authors. If you hadn't written a book yet and you're looking for support, or if you're writing the book right now, if you're in progress, if you're in process and you're doing it, join us. This will be coming up at the end of May. And I want to tell you that I also enjoy writing historical fiction. I enjoy someone that really brings a lot of value to my life, and that's Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth, look at all of the challenges that she faced. She came into a kingdom, first of all, that was in debt. They had financial constraints that were in place when she arrived. She was then forced and coerced to do what? Marry. All of the different suitors that came, she was forced to do that, correct? Then there were attempts on her life. People were trying to kill her. People in other kingdoms and also within her own kingdom. Look at the value she brought to the world today. Queen Elizabeth came into a kingdom, never married, and she still, for some way, had collaboration in place. There had to have been somebody there who collaborated with her, someone that came about that stood close, someone that she could trust. Think about it. Look at her and think about yourselves. There's got to be a journey, or there's got to be someone that empowers you. Whether it's a quote that you love, or a book that you've read, and now you're in that position. How are you going to use the win to empower yourself and empower others? But you first have to what? See the win. See it. How many of you see the win that you have in place right now for your book that you're writing? How many of you see the win for a business that you're growing? How many of you see the win and you just faced an unexpected failure? Do you see the win? Today, we're going to show you again how you can see the win. And number one, I was saying to you is do it also without having to. There are times when you will have to invest right now in a professional, correct? You have to invest in someone who has the professionalism, like maybe Preeti, also Romanian, or even Constance Johnson, or myself, Marlene Foster. But then think about that gift. Remember that I spoke of earlier, and only you know about that gift. Go back and think about the seasons, the times when there was something that happened in your business, something that happened in your life. Go back, think about it. And when you do, reinvent it. I want to tell you this, and then I'm going to actually move on to our guest today, Warren Buffett, whom I really love to read about. Warren Buffett said that you can actually invest and still create a business. He said, if you got $0, start a business with $0. And you know what? If you take your story or story that you know about, and you see that there's some type of a lesson that can be learned from it, write about it, speak about it, reach out and make a difference in someone's life. So I want to tell you simply today, resourcefulness. Take resourcefulness and refine yourselves, refine your life, refine again in your business. If you got employees, listen to them. I was just speaking just previously to Preeti and Constance about listening. You have to learn to listen. You can grow and protect your business by listening. Listening is value. Learn to listen. I wanted to say that to you today. And I want to start by introducing Preeti Balsubramanian, and she will come and tell us about her ambitious journey. Thank you, Preeti, for joining us today.
Thank you. So I am Preeti Barasubramanian, and I am a business coach and a consultant by day, and a children's book author by night. And so for me, I think my phrase or what I go by is I provide growth with ease, and whether it's growth for children in terms of the values and the intellect through my books, or if it's growth for businesses through the systems and support I provide, it's growth with ease for the receiver is the main motto behind what I do.
Excellent. Preeti, when I look at you, I look at the stories you write. You're writing children's books, and you write nonfiction for businesses. Can you tell me right now the growth that you see that extends when parents read your children's books to their children? Tell me, what do you think? What's the benefit?
So I do have two series, like you said. So one is more, it's called The Mystic India for Kids, and it's more based on the Indian Hindu mythology. So, but then it's not a religious book, it's not a religious text kind of a storybook, but the stories in it bring out the values that are told in those stories in a way that's approachable for children. Children understand it through storytelling, because especially for kids under the age of, say, 8 or 10, if we were to tell them as parents or educators that, oh, you have to do this because you have to be patient, or you have to do this because honesty is the right thing to do, they don't really relate with it, they don't understand, and it becomes a rule that we are enforcing on them to follow, and the minute it becomes a rule, they resent it, they don't want to do it. But then if you frame it in such a way that it's shown as like a superpower, or it's like a strength that they have and they can use it in a fun way and learn, it sticks with them and it stays. They learn it without realizing they're actually learning it. So that's the main motive behind those books. And my second series is similar but more chapter book style books, which is called the Everyday Superpowers. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do with those books is, so there are two books in it now. The first one's on patience, and the second one is on honesty, but pictured in such a way that they are superpowers that the kids can use. And also, those books have elements that speak from the child's point of view. Like, how does a child feel? Like, for an adult, when we say be patient with something, we think of, okay, having to wait for something or giving it that time to happen. But then for children, it is even more difficult, because they are like, they get frustrated from waiting. They're agitated because they don't want to wait for something to happen. So, and when that happens, how are they feeling internally? Like, how then I try to address that and that side of things also in the book.
Wow, wow. And you know what you're doing right there? You are teaching from your perspective how children can see the win. And when they're reading the book, they're listening to parents. How do your children's books impact parents?
I think it makes things easier for the parent also, right? Like even for me as a mother, like when I'm trying to tell my children, oh, you have to do this a certain way, it becomes very instructional and they don't want to listen to it. Whereas when I read about it in a story and I tell it, and the next time there are occurrences where my daughter has then quoted something from back to me from the book saying, oh, in that book you remember this person did this, so that's what I'm going to do today, because they relate with that. But if I were to tell her, no, 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 you should do it like this because mommy is telling you to do it like this, no, then they don't want to do it, right?
There has to be a motivation for them to do it. They
Yeah.
have to be motivated. So they read it in a book. One of your characters, for example, one of your characters, they always brush their teeth at night, every night before they go to bed. And you
Yeah.
say to your daughter, you've got to brush your teeth. Remember in the book, so and so always
Yeah.
brush their teeth every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like when they see it happening in their favorite character, then they're like, oh, I want to do that too.
They can relate to it, Preeti.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible! And listen, I wanted Preeti to also share with you. the book that she's written for business owners. And I'll tell you this, I could relate to it, because if you've got, let's say if you walk in the door, you've got flowers, right? That you got roses, whatever flowers that you absolutely love. Shouldn't you spend time instead of giving them all away? What about you? You can protect business, first of all, by with self-love. How can you protect others if you don't take time for yourself? Right, Preeti?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, like the other book, the non-fiction book that you say, that's called The Ease Equation: Systems plus Support Equals Sustainable Success. That's what that book is about. And the book starts with initially talking about the clarity or the mindset, because most of us, when we get into business, it's we are all solopreneurs, or we all start off as founders, and at that stage you are the one doing everything in your business, from admin to operations to marketing to pitching to finances to bookkeeping is all you. But then when your business then grows to a certain stage, that doesn't that is not sustainable anymore if it's just you still doing all those things. And with a lot of founders, it's two things. One is that false sense of perfection. They think only they can do it a certain way, and if you hand it off to somebody else, it won't be right. So it's that feeling is one. And two is, you feel like the minute you delegate something to a person or to a system, you're losing control. So those are the main two things I generally see with a lot of people. So the book starts with that, like the mindset, the clarity. And once you have that clear mindset and clarity in terms of what is truly yours to do, then you can think of delegation. And when you think of delegation, you can think of two streams, whether you're delegating it to a system, and systems start with documenting your SOPs, like documenting a process that was in your head until yesterday, to having a CRM or to having a HRIS system. So systems are all of those. So then you decide whether it has to go to a system or go to a person that you need to delegate. And then you identify, who is the person that I need to hire? Is it my first employee? Am I hiring a contractor? Am I hiring a VA? Am I hiring an online business manager? So that book kind of step by step walks you through auditing your own business. So you realize, get that clarity, and then identify what are the right systems and the right human circle of support that you need to grow
Mm.
sustainability and without burning out yourself in the process.
Yeah.
Mm.
Vicky, can I comment on what you just said? I
Mm-hmm.
think every business owner, every startup should buy your book. And you haven't paid me to say that. I'll explain why. From experience, when you're a founder, you become very possessive over your business. Okay, you want to hold it. It's my baby, right? Delegate the work. Oh gosh, no. Only I know everything. I'm going to control everything. That's how founders see it. So I think
Mhm.
your book, oh my gosh, I wish I had your book years ago, right? Because the other thing as well is, with businesses, they have to realize, while they're delegating their CRM, SAP, or what other aspect of their business that they're delegating to, it free they have to see a benefit. That the benefit is, it frees up their time to develop the business. So if there's 20% of their business is being delegated, oh, that's 20%. I can work, I can go networking, I can expand the business. So I think every business should buy your book.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I love that, Constance. Absolutely. And you made me think about in business protection workshops, I'll talk to businesses about independence and interdependence. Why? Because your business should be created and run with the preparation that you don't know what the future is going to bring, what the outcome will be. What if there's an illness that occurs? What if death occurs? What if you decide that I think I would like to move on and do something else different? So you need to start off what? Looking at yourself. I'm not saying be selfish, but I'm saying you got to look at you. Look at yourself and think about, what is it that I want in place for myself at this particular time? And then teach your team, teach your business independence, so that business can run itself. They can be spinning around breakdancing while you out on a trip, where you're taking care of some other business venture that could be compound and bring more business in there. The business itself needs to be not on autopilot, but needs to be interdependent, depending and connecting with one another, so that when you're away, and you and it again, and I've got an upcoming book that talks about this, about exactly what Preeti's book is talking about. And that is, you got to also think about what's best for you. So when you're looking at your challenge right now, one challenge you should have is, how do you implement growth and protection for you? How do you implement growth and protection? Then what? For the business, for employees, for customers, and community. Excellent. I agree. Very good. And thank you, Constance. I agree that's a book, and I've already read her book, and I'm gonna tell you this: when you read a book, and it just dawned on me sitting here listening to Constance speak about Preeti's book, you're going to hear different perspectives on the book, and it's going to open up your vision and your mind from from whatever it is that you were thinking about when you read that book. And it's going to give you a whole new vision, a whole different perspective, like what Constance just did. Thank you, Constance. See that? Wonderful. Wonderful. And so I want to just now move on to Constance Johnson. Constance is a communicator. And you're going to see today a woman who communicates. I mean, she communicates with promise. When I read her newsletters and things of that nature, when I read those, it makes me really look forward to Constance writing a book, everybody. I'm sorry, Constance, I do feel this way about you. I read your newsletters and I say, I mean, she is so inspirational, and she challenges you. I love challenges. How many of you out there like challenges? And I hope you've written the one out that I told you to write out, because if you don't share it today, then I want you to be prepared to share it on Thursday. When we come back with the Q&A, we got a Q&A coming up on Thursday. And that Q&A will be a networking time for you as well. So I want to ask Constance, what would you say are some of the most, if you had to pick a challenge right now that actually comes before you, you're not talking about any particular person, but a challenge that you work on in your business. Tell us about what you do and some of the most top priority type of challenges that you've seen in your business.
Right, the challenges I see in my business are the challenges that my clients have, and having to help them through those challenges and come up with a solution. So an example might be a client of the day, I've applied for 500 jobs, I'm not getting to the interview stage. That is a challenge, okay? Or a client number two, I'm getting to the interview stage, but I'm not getting the job. Those are two challenges, right? So I help clients with those challenges using my communication strategy, which starts with consultation. So the consultation with client number one. So tell me about the jobs you've applied for. Show me your resume. What was the last job you applied for? What skills do you have that made you apply for that job? They might say project management. Oh, but on your resume, it just says project management. It doesn't tell the hiring manager the success that you had with it. Tell me about that project. So they might say, at the end of the project, I increased revenue growth by $1.2 million. Why isn't that in your resume? So I use an acronym called WHO, WHO. I say, this is part of the consultation, and they don't know they're being interviewed. I'm preparing them for the interview stage, so that when they go for the interview, they can say, oh, I did this with Constance. This is what I did. This is how I did it. This was the outcome. So W is, what did you do with an achievement? I ask them to think of the 3 top achievements. So they say, okay, I want Customer of the Year award, Best Salesman of the Year, 2025. Okay, that's an achievement. What did you do to get that? How did you do it? What was the outcome? Well, I sold 24 BMWs in a month. Okay, so tell me, let's go back to who. What did you do? How did you do it? What was the outcome? How much sales did you achieve? That's the outcome. Or $12 million. So I get them to start thinking of themselves not as a person, Marlene, but as a product to market. You are a product. Why should someone buy you? And that's what you've got to think about. Okay, there's hundreds of people applying for a job. Why should they choose me? And think about what your unique selling points are. And that's what we talk about. Again, you talk about it during interview coaching, and we do interview coaching simulation. I'll say, okay, tell me about yourself. Another question might be, why should we hire you? Always have that in your head, why they should hire you. Because you can say, for example, I achieved $1.2 million in growth. Another example, in a month, I sold £12 million worth of cars. So in your head, think of yourself as a product. If you look at a product, it has all the benefits on it. What's the benefit of you? That's what I do.
Good, very good. But let me ask you this: that I'm listening to you, and you and I have spoken previously on podcasts and everything. But what is it when you've got people that you've already met with? They've gone on the interview, and they walk through the door confident, ready, secure. What do they tell you when they come back to you?
I always
Constance,
have a follow-up call.
wait, 1 second. I got to ask you this. When they come back to you, Constance, what is the major thing the priority that they say that they received from you that helped them to excel? What is it
I
that
would
you can?
say that it was harder to have the interview with me, and it was easier at the interview because I challenge them. I make them say that again. No, no, no. Say it slower. And I make them. And one of the things I do, Marlene, is when I do the final mock interview, we call it mock interview over here. I say, I want you to dress like you're going for an interview. I want the suit, the tie, because when you're dressed like that, you are a product.
Mm-hmm.
I like
They
this.
come back and they go, oh, I felt really confident. Because I say to them, when someone says, tell me about yourself, what they want to hear is, what skills, knowledge, and experience have you got
Mhm,
related to the job?
mhm.
Why should they hire you? The same answer. All the questions is all the same answer. The what, the who, the what, the how did you, the outcome. Always talk about your achievements, right? Research the company. Tell them something that they didn't know. One of my clients, Marla, I've got to tell you this. He was going for an auctioneer's role, but there's not very many auctioneer roles in an auction house, and you have to be really qualified. This was a really big one here, auction house. And I said, okay, you do some research. I always give my clients homework. Research the company, or I might have a fake company. I'll say, go and research WH Smith, come back with information about them, and I'll do the same. So what happened, Marlene, was he told me what he found out, and I said, not good enough. That anybody can find that out on Google. I want you to delve deeper. Wikipedia, go back 10 years, go back 5 years. Who's the CEO? What's the share value? Tell them something that proves that you didn't just go on Google and look them up. So what I found out, right, was that they sold a diamond ring for £5 million, and they had to have tight security 24 hours because it was publicised that this ring was going to be sold at auction. So he went to the interview. He told them, he said, what do you, because one of the questions an interview might ask is, why do you want to work for us? That is a prompt for, tell me what you know about us.
Mhm.
So he said, during my research, I found out that you sold a ring for £5 million. One of the interviews said, I don't know about that. And he said, yes, right, in 2018, right, you sold the ring. And he stopped the interview and he said, I need to look this up. I didn't know that. Because the thing is, Marlene, when you work for a company, you don't know much about them. You go to work every day and you go home. But what do you really know about the company that you work for? And he got the job. Got the job.
Wow. See, and you know what? See, look at this. Trustworthiness, and that's why. Again, look at what Constance just said. When you're looking at protection. When you're protecting again your business, just as Preeti, Constance, and myself, and you have to look at doing. You do, as she was just saying, you have to learn to reach out, read, and discover. Read, and also, like you were saying to Constance, they need to know what they can get from you. But you know what? What's most important as well? What can you, as a collaborator, as a team player, what can you receive also with them? Credibility. Credibility gives you protection. When you can get credibility, yeah. Don't you think so, Constance? The credibility. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, totally 100% agree with you. One of the things I say to clients, and they struggle with this question, I'm going to be interviewing 30 people in a month. I use any example. What's memorable about you? What are you going to tell me that's going to make me remember you? And they have to think about it. I'll say, go on, tell me. They'll say, oh, something. No, that's not memorable. 20 other people have the same. What's memorable? What's on your product?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Constance, because in my corporate world, I was in HR, so I've been the HR manager, being on the hiring side,
Yes.
and on the other side when I interviewed as well. So I do understand your point. When it's one role, typically you have like hundreds of resumes come in for that one role, and one is your resume has to stand out. Otherwise, I'm not going to even pick you, shortlist you for the interview.
Yeah.
And once even your resume stands out and you're picked, if there are like 10 people all in black suits and all answering the same thing and all giving me the same answer, like, why are you special? Why am I picking you, right?
One of the questions is, I say, what makes you so special? I'm going to interview all these people. I want, when you go out of that room, interview room, I'll remember him. I'll go, that's a potential yes.
Yeah.
There has to be something memorable about you, something you've achieved. You've got an MBA, you've got a master's degree, you've got something that's
Yeah.
related to the role.
Yeah, there are times I've sat on interviews like with a panel, like with 2 or 3 other colleagues of mine, and had like a half an hour, 45-minute interview. And at the end of the interview, the person walks out and we are having a discussion among ourselves. And none of us can actually point out to a certain thing that this person said. We're like, yeah, he spoke for half an hour. That's all. Like, we're like, what did he say? Nobody knows.
I remember the ring for 5 million, for example. You're
Yeah.
going to see something they're going to remember you. I've done lots of interviews. And I think when the person goes out of the room thinking, this job is for over £100,000 and I learned nothing from you.
Mm.
There was nothing about the product. There's nothing special. What makes you stand out? Because I say, think about what makes you stand out. And one of the tips I give them is, if you get nervous and you forget to say about this particular achievement, ask the interviewer, there's something I want to tell you. We'll take a couple of minutes. Is it okay if I tell you? And I talk about primary and recency. People remember, it's like a film. You'll always remember the start of a film. You'll always remember the end.
No,
So
and I also agree to the point that like when I was on the HR side, I was also okay if somebody, when I asked them, do you know about this company or why are you a good fit for this role?
yeah.
I'm okay if you even put up your notebook, referred to notes and told me answers, because I know you've taken the effort, you have gone and checked, you have taken notes and you have studied the company.
It shows preparation.
You don't have to memorize things. It's
Yeah.
okay
I
for you to
say
say,
an interview
I
is not
researched
an
your company and these are my notes. That
yes.
will work too.
An interview is not, I say to them, an interview is not an exam. You can take your notes because you're not going to remember all your figures, right? In 2024, I increased sales by 5 million. A year later, I increased it by 7. If you've got your figures in front of you, it's not an exam.
Yeah.
It's not a closed book exam. You can have your figures in front of you.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, you can bring your notes, bring your portfolio. You can read from your portfolio, give them a copy of the portfolio at the end. Tell them this is what I have done.
Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed someone, helping someone who was a photographer, right? And I said, have you got a portfolio? He said, yes. I said, bring it to our interview.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, what I want you to do is at the end of the interview, so I want you to remember them, just say, I have a portfolio, can I leave it with you? Ask permission. And guess what?
Mm.
With him, he got the job.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And see, Constance, you just brought to my mind was, years ago, my profession was the legal. I was in the legal field. I had already been accepted to law school, and I had to take a sabbatical because my mother became ill. And so you're not gonna guess what happened. I worked with three law firms, three of them. I didn't go and apply your particular way that most people do. I walked into the offices and I told them who I was. I introduced myself. And so I ended up working for these three separate attorneys, right? So then later I was working for the third one. He said, guess what? The courthouse, they're looking for a research clerk. This judge is looking for in Chancery, right? So I said, okay. And I said, oh, I'm going okay about it. He said, I think you should apply. I said, what? I said, I've only had 1 year behind me and I'm out right now on leave. He said, Marlene, this will be a real good way for you to learn. He said, and as daring as you are, he said, I think that'll be one thing he'll like about you. So I went, I applied, and I saw the other second year law students, and there I was, a first year out on a sabbatical, right? Do you know he hired me? And
Wow.
I sat there. I sat there for a minute, and I'm sorry. I sat there and just stared off into space for a little while. And then, so when he wanted to speak with me, and I said, I'm appalled. I'm proud. And then I said, and why? I asked him what. I said, you got second. He said, you know what? You have proven that you are courageous. Bravery. He said, I love that. He said, even he said, you're quiet. He said, you look confident. He said, and also very classy. He said, I love the way you dress. He said, but your bravery. He said, I checked out the other law firms. All of them said, you didn't apply the traditional way. You walked in and said, hello, I'm Marlene Hall. That's my nickname. I'm Marlene Hall, and I'm here today because I know you're looking for, and I see what they were looking for. And I was young at the time, had never done this before. I took a chance. I took a chance, Constance. I didn't do it the traditional way. And when you look at your lives right now, you're looking at protecting your business, everything's not done the way everybody else does it. You got to do it the way Preeti Bottles of Mary, she's got to do it her way. Preeti has her way. Then there's Constance. She's got her way. I'm saying that look at today, what you have in front of you. You got a challenge right now. You've written down on a sheet of paper. You've got the solution that's there. You've heard Preeti talk about again, and I'm going to get them to very succinctly give you just a recap very succinctly, and Constance as well. I want them to recap, and then we'll end on that today. And they're also going to invite you to attend with them. There's something going to invite you to attend with them. Preeti, would you give us a recap, please?
Okay, so for me, like I said, the essence of everything I do is to grow with ease. And I do that for businesses by helping them understand their mindset, the clarity in terms of what's truly the entrepreneurs to do, and then systems and the support to help them delegate and grow sustainably without having to burn out themselves. And for the children, I do that through children's books by teaching them values and lessons in a way that it doesn't sound like rules but sounds like superpowers that they want to achieve.
Excellent. Great. Absolutely. Thank you. And Constance, Constance Johnson, if you will give us a recap.
Yes, I help clients achieve their career goals. That's with the career management system I use. So there's two types of clients I help. The ones that are applying for hundreds and hundreds of jobs themselves and they're not getting to the interview stage. Clientele number two, they're getting to the interview stage, but they're not getting the job. So I do a combined LinkedIn profile is important because hiring managers will go and look at that. So your LinkedIn profile, your resume, your cover letter as well, And I also make sure that everything's aligned. So when they go onto your LinkedIn profile, they'll see achievements on there. Your CV will say achievements. I do consultations. We have practice sessions of interviews. I tell you to go and research the company that you're going to be interviewing for. So when you're going for that interview, you're completely confident. And I use an again call who. What did you do? How did you do it? What was the outcome? And we talk about your top 3 achievements to build your confidence. So when you walk in that room and everything you say will be remembered. Preeti said that we interviewed people and half an hour later they can't remember what was said. You want to go in there and be memorable. Remember, you are a product to be sold.
Absolutely. And I just want to again stop here and just recap again what I said about protection. Remember, you've got that challenge right now that you've written down. The challenge that's facing you right now, the challenge that you have etched on your mind, and there's a solution. Refine. Think it over. Look at it. Look at the gifts that you have already that surround you. Sometimes we forget. We're so busy looking at what we can accomplish and what we can also attain. You forget about what's already there. Look at the people who are surrounding you. There's so much knowledge that's there. That may be within your family structure. There could even be a colleague that you know of. All I'm saying is that reach out and communicate. Reach out and ask questions. Find out what others are doing. Again, but do you have to do what everybody else is doing? You don't. Take it and see if it's something that you can use in your business. And I want to just again invite you to come out. We're going to be actually attaching it, but there is a co-author workshop that will also invite authors who are writing a book for the first time. If you're writing it, if you haven't started yet, come join us and we can help you to get started on that journey in the co-author workshop. So, and it will be at the end of May, and I'll have more information attached, for your review, and more information about Preeti and more information about Constance. Thank you so much for joining us today, and hoping that I will get a chance to take a look at the challenge that you've written today. If you want to send it to me, I'll have my information attached where you can reach out and you can speak with me about your challenge. Thank you again. And again, remember to do what? Redefine, reinvent, and come out with your own solutions. Yeah. Challenge yourself and save all of the money that you spend on everybody else. Invest when you should, though. Invest, okay? There may be times when you do need to invest, but invest in yourself. Thank you again, everybody, and thank you so much, Preeti. Thank you, Constance, for being here with me today.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene.